Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson, and you'll never guess where I am today. I'm in a tent, but I'm not camping. I'm actually in my own backyard. And it's a pretty interesting story of why I'm in a tent in my own yard. And it started years ago when I first became Raw. I met Victoria Batinko of the Raw family. And up to that point in my life, I had never slept outside. And Victoria and her family sleep outside all the time. And I thought they were crazy. You see, when you're from out west and you sleep outside, you're considered camping. But when you're from out east and you sleep outside, it's considered homeless. So I didn't have a lot of experience with sleeping outside and so on. And anyway, I saw the whole family there this one night, and I decided I would go ahead and try sleeping outside with them, and I did. And I got the best night of sleep that I've ever had. And since then, I got addicted to sleeping outside. And after doing a lot of research and studies on it, what I found out is when we sleep inside, especially with the windows closed, in the winter we put our heaters on, in the summer we put our air conditioners on, it's actually one of the worst things you could do for your health. Let me give you an example. A lot of people, when they're on an airplane, they always complain they get a headache or even feel even worse. And that's due to the fact that there's circulated air going around, recycled air over and over again, but they're not getting any fresh air. On top of that, when you're in this big room that's closed off and no fresh air with a lot of people, the people are breathing in oxygen, but they're letting out this carbon dioxide that's really getting into the air, and without any fresh air, it's making matters even worse. And when we sleep at nighttime with the windows closed, it's not healthy. And I see a lot of people eating a raw food diet and trying to do a lot of great things for their health. But if you're not following all the things that are going to produce health, you're not going to be as healthy as you can be. My number one tip that I give people when it comes to health is sleep with the windows open, no matter if it's the winter or the summer. Okay, it might be so hot. I'm here in Florida and it's really hot. We might need the air conditioner on, but at least leave the window open. I understand people are concerned about the money and it's too much money to do that. But it's also a lot of money to pay your health bills when you have to go to the doctor all the time because you're running into all these other issues that you don't have to run into. So one of the easiest tips is to sleep with the window open, or even better, sleep outside. Now, I did another video a couple of weeks ago called Tent Living in Florida. I have friends that actually live in a tent full time. That is a little extreme. Is it extreme to sleep in your own yard in a tent? Most people would think so. But I can tell you, last night I finally decided. I had my window open, wide open, and I said, you know what, I'm not getting enough fresh air. So I decided to come out into the yard, and I slept in this tent for the first time. And it's pretty hot here in Florida, but another key to sleeping outside is you get away from the electricity in the house, because for a while I've been shutting off the power. And I don't mean just the lights, which I mean the power every night. The circuit breakers in my house. But after a while, my wife started complaining because the circuit breakers are hooked up to the central air. And I do a little bit better with without the air conditioning than she does, and I didn't want that. Also, there's other electricity going on between the walls, and so you shut the power completely off, it takes care of that. But the problem I ran into was even my ceiling fan didn't work, and I love fans. I actually have a lot of them, right? You're some of my fans out there. So what I decided to do was I just went to a camping store here, and I got this fan. I can say this is my number one fan now, right? This is a battery-run fan, and it runs on batteries. It's a camping fan. And so I put it in my tent here. I had it in here last night, and I slept wonderful. I had fresh air. I woke up at it. When the sun came up, it was much easier to do that. And we might not all have yards to sleep in our tents, and it might be too extreme for some people. I understand, and I'm not telling you to sleep on your front yard where your neighbors are going to look at you and think you're absolutely out of your mind. But if you have a backyard, it might be wise. Or go camping every now and then. That might be wise also. Take it from me. I'm a guy from Brooklyn, New York. Never went camping in my life until I slept outside with Victoria Batinko and the Raw family. And it really became addicting. So I started sleeping outside all the time. Give you a funny story before I go here. And I'm not going to sleep now because it's kind of early. But I will stop eating soon because the sun's coming down. But years ago I was in Reno, Nevada. And I was going to speak somewhere. And I wanted to get a good night's worth of sleep. So everyone was sleeping inside in this big, beautiful house. And I was going to sleep outside. And I was going outside, and it was snowing outside. And the lady goes, I wouldn't go out there, it's snowing. I said, that's not a problem. You know, I learned a trick. within a sleeping bag, no matter how cold it is outside, if you actually take your clothes off and sleep naked within a sleeping bag, it keeps the heat inside the bag, and it's actually warmer to sleep with no clothes than with clothes. So I said, no problem, you got a sleeping bag? She gave me a sleeping bag. I went out there to go sleep, and then she said, we have mountain lions out there. I said, come on now, what are the odds that I'm going to see a mountain lion? And even if I did, it'd probably be so scared of me it would run away or something. Well, I got my sleeping bag. I went to a nice spot way away from the house, and I rolled out the sleeping bag. I took all my clothes off. I got in the sleeping bag, and I brought my cell phone just in case, though. So I get in the sleeping bag, and I'm falling asleep, and then all of a sudden, I heard something, and I looked up, and it was a mountain lion right there. Now, I don't care how healthy it is to sleep outside. It's not healthy to sleep outside when there are mountain lions surrounding you. So I didn't know what to do, but I certainly wasn't going to get out of my sleeping bag and try to outrun this thing naked in the wild. So I just didn't move, and I stayed in my sleeping bag, and it didn't move. It just stayed there, sitting at me, staring at me. And I was just like praying this thing would move, and this is where the power of prayer comes in very handy. Finally, I just closed my eyes, and I said, I can't do anything. I'm just going to try to get to sleep here. And so the next thing I know, the morning came, the sun came up, and I looked more closely. And it wasn't a mountain lion. It was actually a garbage can with two things sticking out that looked like the ears, and it looked like the perfect shape of a mountain lion just sitting there staring at me. So I didn't get a good night of sleep, good night's worth of sleep that night sleeping outside. But every other night since, I slept outside. I've had a wonderful night of sleep. And I'm telling you, it's fun. The kids love it. It's great for your health. My first tip is, if you are going to sleep inside, sleep with the windows wide open. You need to sleep with ventilation in your room. You need to have those windows open. My next tip would be, if you have an opportunity, if you have a backyard or a front yard, sleep there every now and then in a nice little tent. It's a great experience, and you'll sleep wonderful. Some people, they don't have a yard, but they have a nice roof. You can pop a tent on top of a roof and sleep there. Even when it's nice outside, if there are no mosquitoes, you can sleep without a tent and just pop down a air mattress or a sleeping bag and sleep on top of that. And then, of course, another great thing is to find a really nice campground and visit there every now and then. That's wonderful also, because you're surrounded by nature. You're surrounded by all the green trees that give off the chlorophyll, and the rivers that most campgrounds are around that have the negative ions. So raw food is tremendously important. All high quality food is important. Getting to sleep the right time is important, but also where we sleep is tremendously important. And I'm here in this tent, and that was my first night last night sleeping in this yard, and I'm going to try it again tonight, and I'm going to continue trying it, and I'll let you know how it goes. So until next time, this is Paul Neeson for the Raw Life Health Show saying, have a great night and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.